Hello, everyone. Welcome to Ask the Planman. Everything you want to know about finance, insurance, and more, but we're afraid to ask. I'm your host, Bruce Weinstein, and I have a belief that everyone should have a plan. Whether it's a financial plan, a retirement plan, a business plan, a fitness plan, even a travel plan. Each week, we're bringing you different topics to help you maximize your plans and planning needs. Today, we're joined by Tony Moonen. Tony's a district sales coordinator with Aflac, as he likes to say. You know the duck that you see on TV. Today, we're going to discuss what Aflac does for you and why you should include Aflac in your planning. Tony, welcome to Ask the Planman. Tell us, how is Aflac different than the normal health insurance people usually get?
Glad you asked. So health insurance normally pays the doctors and the hospitals, while Aflac pays you money. So everybody has a deductible. Everybody has an out-of-pocket max. So Aflac pays you when you get sick or hurt, what I call your oops and uh-oh moment. So if you get into an accident, you're out of work, we can pay a short-term disability. And the reason I got started with Aflac was the big C word, cancer, because my wife 10 years ago had breast cancer. And we did not have Aflac at the time. I wasn't currently working for him. And, the thing I will tell you, the first thing that goes through your mind when somebody near you or you have cancer is not, oh my gosh, how much is it going to cost me? So you're only worried about who's the best doctor. What do I have to do? What if I have to have operations? How do I beat this? And that should be your only thing that you think of. But at the end of it, when everything was completed, I got a bill for $6,500. Mr. Moonen, can you pay that right now on a check? No. Can you pay that on your credit card? No. So they had to put me on a payment plan. And that's what I want to try to avoid, people having that worry about money, while they're going through something as big as the C word.
Sure. So let's be clear, Aflac is not just for cancer. It's one of the components.
Correct.
But let's rewind a little bit as you said it. Let's break this down for my listener out there. So depending on the type of health plan that they have, major medical, whether they have a group benefit plan, they're on the marketplace or Obamacare, if they have a private pay, everybody has to deal with what's called a deductible in a lot of cases. And if you have a really strong plan, you might have a zero deductible. But then you also use another word called maximum out of pocket, which is your yearly exposure. So even though there's no deductible, there still could be what's called a maximum out of pocket, which means, as Tony just described in this situation, they had a $6,500 exposure that once his wife's treatments were done, they were presented with this bill. Everything above the $6,500, we're going to presume, Tony, you can confirm that the major medical plan that you had covered the rest. And I'm sure it was tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on what kind of treatment she had. Right?
Seeing the bills, yes, it was. But, my max out of pocket for this was $6,500.
Right. So what Tony didn't have, which prompted him to get involved in the Aflac world and now represent Aflac, as we do as a partner with him, is to give people the coverage for the gaps. As you said, the oops and the uh-oh moments is normal routine healthcare may or may not have certain expenses, but when the oops and the uh-ohs and the things that happen pop up, now that's where health insurance is going to get awfully expensive, and the C word being a big one there. So what else can we share with the audience? I know the cancer being the one of them, but you and I break down a lot of this and I was thinking this morning before we got on the call is I remember when Yogi Berra was doing Aflac commercials, right? When you're sick and miss work, it doesn't hurt to miss work or something. They give you as good as cash, and all the taglines of the yogiisms. But what else can Aflac do besides that?
Well, we cover our policies are separate, but we have an accident policy. It covers you in 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Doesn't matter how many accidents you get into a year, we do not cancel you. So, I have some policyholders that get in at least 6 accidents a year, from slip and falls to cutting their finger to car accidents. So, so she gets paid on every one. It does not matter. Now, you can use that money again for anything you want. You can use it to pay your deductibles, pay your out-of-pocket, cover your out-of-pocket max. You can pay an FP&L bill, or you can go to the Hard Rock casino and put it all on black or red. It doesn't matter to us how you spend it.
We here at the Planman don't endorse.
I'm not saying it either, but I can't. I don't control. It's your money, right. And you want to go out to dinner. That's another thing too. So if you want to, do that, but it's your money, and
so use it. The term might be synonymous. Indemnity plans. You could construe that in a sense. It basically says an indemnity plan says we're going to pay you X amount of dollars for something.
Correct.
And so Aflac, in a sense, is an indemnity plan with these features. Is if this occurs, we're going to give you $50. If that occurs, we're going to give you $100. If this occurs, we're going to give you $1,000. And so they're giving you different abilities to get this additional revenue. Again, as the yogi said, it doesn't hurt to miss work. So that if you have an accident, you break. Again, I just remember a million commercials of Aflac, so their branding is fantastic. You see the person who's on crutches with a broken leg, they can't go to work, and how are you paying your bills, right? And so he goes to the mailbox, and there's this, the ducks in the mailbox with his check, type of thing. So depending on what happens, and again, it's usually the unexpected. Look, insurance as a whole, right, is eliminating or alleviating risk exposure.
Correct.
I can't afford for my house to burn down is one of my biggest assets. I can't afford for my car to be totaled at $50,000 and just have to be replaced. I can't afford to get sued because somebody slipped on my sidewalk in the rain or the snow or the ice, right? So all of these different things is mitigating risk. Insurance is mitigating risk. And so Aflac, at a very affordable level for most of your options, fills in some of the gaps. And the gaps are for unexpected. I didn't expect to have that car accident.
Nobody ever expects to have an accident.
Right. I mean, there's a lot. I got to patent this word or trademark this word is intendant. So you have an accident, but the word intend, right? I didn't have an intendant. I didn't intend to, get sick today. I didn't intend to fall off my bike and crack my skull open, right? So I didn't intend to do it. It's accidents, all right? It's unforeseen and unprepared. So Aflac, in a sense, I don't want to put the wrong words in there, is an accident type of plan, or one of the pieces is an accident plan. And then I assume you have things for, not just the cancer, but heart attack, stroke, and other things that are going to be significant missing work incidences.
Correct.
True?
Correct. We have critical illness, which covers your heart attack, stroke, and all of the big, if you need a heart transplant, we'll pay up to $25,000 on a transplant. We also have a hospital plan. So if you're somebody that goes to the hospital a lot, or if you're thinking about getting pregnant, it does pay for the birth of the child. Just like our short-term disability, you're out of work because of the birth, we'll pay 4 weeks for maternity leave for a natural childbirth and 5 weeks for a C-section.
So there's coverages there. And that's important because on the major medical plans, on the private pay side, they don't tend to cover childbirth at all on the private pay. And then the marketplace, where you get your minimally essential coverage options, will take care of the prenatal type work that your doctor visits there. But again, depending on the plans, and we do this all the time with clients as you break down, the different types of plans that are out there may not cover $1 of the childbirth, meaning it could have, if you have a $6,000 deductible plan and you need to read your agreement and the plan that you're enrolling, it might say childbirth is you pay the deductible first and then we pay blank. So I have a client that we're working with that he's planning on having another child. they moved into what was a gold plan. If you know what the marketplace, it has bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. Well, the gold plan was way more expensive, but at the end of the day, it had a $350 copay for childbirth. And so the premium, he's prepaying the premium, but at the end of the day, he's got a fixed cost of only $350 when that child comes along, versus the bronze plan might have had an $8,700 deductible, and he's going to pay the whole thing. So he's paying it in the premium instead, right? He's buying it down. So in your case, somebody could have a bronze plan with a bigger deductible and then piggyback it with your Aflac plan. Correct. That would pay for, provide, or cover for the childbirth expense. So what's the most you can get coverage for something like that?
See, but the one thing I want to stress is it doesn't matter if you have, an Obamacare, if you're a VA, if you have no health care, or if you have the gold or the platinum health insurance. We're still going to pay everybody the same amount for the same thing. So the same kind of accident, and you have an accident policy on any of those policies, we're paying that amount. If you don't have health care, we're still going to pay that same amount. If you do have a child, we're still going to pay 4 weeks of your salary, or 5 weeks if it's a C-section. It doesn't matter. I've had a lot of VA people tell me, well, I go to the VA, I don't have to pay anything. Well, you still get paid through Aflac. It doesn't matter. We don't look at that, and we don't care about that. It depends on how hurt you get, what happened to you in the hospital, how long you've been out of work, or anything else that's happened to you. That's what we care about, and that's how we pay.
Okay. So we've got the accident, the critical illness, you got hospitalization, sickness, you have disability, right? You provide some disability.
Correct. Short term, we can do 3 months or 6 months of short-term disability. The elimination periods are known as 0-7 and 0-14. So 0-7 means the 0 on both of those policies are, if you get into an accident, we start paying day one. The 7 is if you happen to have an illness, or the 14, it's you happen to have an illness or an operation, you have to be out at least 7 days to start getting paid on that one, or the 14 days. When COVID hit, I had, all of us agents were like, well, what do we do? They tell you have to be out at least 2 weeks. So Aflac, came out, and we all had a meeting, and they said, yeah, we're going to start paying after 7 days for COVID. So we started paying for the COVID. No extra costs to the policy or the existing policyholders. They just did it again. And now, with all of the people coming out of the pandemic, there's a lot of, people that are depressed, or, have some disorder, and they have, if they have an alcohol or substance abuse and need to go to an alcohol or substance abuse, rehabilitate, and rehabilitate, that time out of work is covered also. And again, we didn't increase the price on the policy. It is covered now.
And when you say 3 months, 6 months, mean that's how long the coverage will last.
Up to 3 months,
they'll pay for 3 months, or they'll pay for 6 months.
Up to 6 months, or up to 3 months. Correct. Now it doesn't.
So we did an episode.
It doesn't. If you're out 2 months, and then for some reason, months later you have something else, it starts again. It all starts at 3 months. You get the whole 3 months again. It's not like, oh, I got 2 months earlier, now I only get 1 month. It restarts. Everything restarts. Same thing with the accident plan and everything
per incident or per event.
Correct.
Right, per incident. I was saying we did an episode a few weeks back on disability itself, and long-term disability is after 6 months. So what Aflac has is short-term disability, 3 or 6 month coverage, which then gets you into your 6 month window, which then is considered to be long-term disability, which is a different plan. We run out of focus.
I know. I'm trying to move. So there we go.
Put your hand.
There we go.
So, so the long-term disability, and then obviously, if people don't have private coverage for long-term disability, then they have to go to Social Security Administration and apply for permanent disability. And that rarely pays, is anything. So you don't offer anything beyond
No.
For disability
We
beyond
do.
that.
The short-term disability does go up to 12 months, but it gets quite expensive for short-term disability. And one thing I always say is I don't want people to be insurance rich and dollar poor. I'll only sell you the policies I think matter the most to your situation, and we talk privately one-on-one to find out maybe do you have kidney stones? Do you have one? Do you have only one kidney? Do you have, something else? So we talk one-on-one to find out what's the best policy to help cover you in a possible situation.
Aflac, you also have dental and vision plans?
Yes, we do. Those are like the regular dental and vision. And the dental does cover, there is no exclusion for a missing tooth. There is no waiting period. With our dental plan. It also has a vanishing deductible. We have PPO, MAC plans, and HMO. Nobody really likes the HMO, so PPO and MAC plans.
That's true.
And we have a vanishing deductible. So the first year it's $50, next year it's $25, and the year after there's no deductible. So we have different coverages.
You pick up some benefit by renewing and staying with the plan. So I think one of the misnomers out there or lack of understanding is, how do people get Aflac? Like how can I buy an individual policy, have a family plan? Do I get it through work? You and I talk about bringing it to our group benefit, coordinators, right? Small businesses where they provide it to their employees. So what are how does somebody get it? Can somebody get an individual or a family plan on their own, or do they need to get it from their employers?
The best way is to get it through your employer, because you get the best pricing and you get the best coverage. You can get it independently, and I have sold a lot independently. As a group, we can go up to the age of 75. As an independent, you have to be 64 or younger in order to get Aflac. It doesn't mean that when you turn 65 that the policy expires. It just means that you can't buy it after when you turn 65. So
let me let's restate that real quick. Sorry. So individuals and families can get coverage, but there's an age limit to getting a new policy and getting on the books, and that, as you just said, is age 64. Once somebody turns 65, and which obviously you're leaning more towards Medicare, they're enrolling in Medicare. So, excuse me. But if you're still working and you're on the job and your company is offering it to you and you're past the age, or 66, 67 and above, well, you could still enroll in it because you're considered a working employee at that point. You're probably not on Medicare. You're using your company's group benefits. And so the Aflac can help fill in some of that gap. And then up until age, what'd you say?
75.
75. So the coverage will last, pay them whatever. Well, paying them might be different. I don't want to put the words in your mouth. So being covered till age 75, once they're turning 76, they're no longer eligible to be on the plan.
Right. So you can't purchase the plan once you pass 75. You can be 74 and get it. And then if you're continuing to pay it, 75 and 76, 77, 78, as long as you already have the plan. Because when Aflac signs you up, that's the age you are forever. So if you're somebody that's 29 years old, guess what? That's the age you're going to be forever. Now on the direct policies, there's a couple of policies we can't offer because Aflac, it's considered a risk to Aflac to give you an individual short-term disability or hospital. So those are the two that we don't offer to an individual. You have to get them through a group policy. Now, I will tell you, your age stays the same, and as long as you're paying, the prices stay the same. So in the times we're in right now, it's inflation proof. It doesn't matter. If you're paying $5.37 a week for an accident plan, 20 years or 30 years later, you're still paying $5.37. It's the same price.
And for a company, a group benefit, what's the minimum amount of employees somebody might need to have to qualify for a company or a group plan?
So we only need 3 employees to sign up for a policy. That's it. So if you have 3 employees, they could be W-2s and or 1099s. It doesn't matter. 1099s are eligible for the short-term disability and everything else. So, which is something they can't usually get as a 1099. Most of them are sales, most of them are salespeople in the company, that are on commission that are getting the 1099. So a lot of them love the fact that we can offer them some short-term disability, because salespeople don't usually get that, like us insurance people.
Yeah, no, 1099s are not construed to be part of a census for group benefits. They're not employees, so they're independent contractors. And unless they're a W-2, you can't get them on a major medical health plan from a company. So you're 100% right. So that is an added benefit here with Aflac. But there's also a reason why, and you speak about it all the time, is it doesn't cost the owner anything, because this is an optional benefit that's provided, and the employee picks up the cost. It might be, as you said, $5 a week or whatever it is. So how does that work? If you have 3 people, if 1 or 2 want to sign up, then that's not going to be eligible. You have to have at least 3 sign up or 3 eligible.
Correct. So three sign up. One, and after you sign up, 1 leaves the next month. So now you're down to 2. It doesn't mean you lose the group. It's only when you sign up. I need 3 people, and if it goes down to 1 person, it goes down to 1 person. The employer does not have to contribute, but talking to a lot of owners, small business owners that can't afford to chip in for the healthcare or whatever, and to keep their employees there, their retention. They'll say, after a year, we'll give you this policy, or we'll pay this amount. Sure. Restaurants are notorious for turnover. They usually have a lot of turnover. So I tell the restaurants, we're not going to sign anybody that's new unless they've been there for at least 3 months, because by that time you'll know if that employee is working out and is a good employee for the business. And that's what we usually do. But, being there, I had veterinarians that said, I'm going to buy the accident plan if you're here a year, because she was losing a lot of her employees to the bigger vets, the bigger companies that are veterinarians. So, and she wanted to keep them.
Well, for our small business owner out there that's listening to this, or somebody that's looking to start a business, some of the things they need to know or may not know is you don't have to provide benefits to your employees if you have below a certain amount of employees, a certain amount of hours with employees. So, but once you do offer health insurance, and again, there's a game here, you keep people under 40 hours like your waiters, and you give them 30 hours, well, now they're not qualified. You don't have to give them benefits, right? But once you do, the employer has to pay for at least 50% of the health insurance cost, right? I'm talking major medical, not Tony's plan, but the major medical. So paying for dental, vision, Aflac, group life, group disability, that's all a la carte, and that could be supplemented by the owner of the business. But a lot of times it's just up to the employee, and Tony might want it, and I don't want it, so that there are options there. But in the arena of the Aflac, if somebody can't afford to put in a major medical plan for $300, $400, $500 a month per person, for $25 a month, they could at least give them something to fill some of the gaps. It may not be perfect, but there's a big difference of spending $400 a month and spending $25 a month, right? And so you can at least give them some sense of coverage. But more to the point I wanted you were making mention is, we've seen the troubles since COVID, during COVID, and post-COVID of getting and retaining employees. And now more than ever, the small businesses are struggling to find key people, retain the ones they have to keep them from jumping ship, and to attract new. And so more and more for you and I, we've experienced a little bit of a boom in the benefit side because they realize if I want to compete for that employee, I got to offer them more. And more is health insurance expensive. And so we got to give them health insurance and they'll stay because guess what? For my 36 years in the business, the biggest reason people don't retire early is their concerns of their health insurance costs. Like I'm spending, $1,500 a month, $2,000 a month. Like I don't want to pick that up, and that's a big expense in retirement. So they're going to wait till Medicare age, and they'll transition to Medicare and knock that expense way, way down. But yeah, this is a big decision. It's a big struggle. It's a big frustration that the small business owner, like IBM and AT&T, they're not worried about this kind of cost. But you and I starting a business, you mentioned the restaurants with had a lot of turnover and their margins are getting clobbered these days with higher food costs and, trying to get these kids to work. Well, once you get a good bartender and a good server and a good host, working there, you want to keep them. You don't want to have to waste time training and finding, and then you have gaps in service because you don't have enough. How many times you and I walk into a restaurant, Tony, and you see half the sections are closed, and you're like, "Well, there's a table there." They're like, "No, we don't have any servers." Right?
Or there'll be a note. There'll be a note on the door. Please be patient. We don't have enough staff to cover everything. So people and
cooks, dishwashers.
Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's but who would think you would offer a dishwasher, Aflac, and health insurance benefits to retain them? But guess what? If they're good, you're going to want to do it. What else can we share with our listener today?
Well, I told you the prices never go up, and it doesn't matter if you're asked to leave the company or if you leave on your own, you can continue. And unlike, some others where at Cobra, everything goes up, Aflac, again, stays the same price. So if you work for a company for 5 years and you happen to leave and you want to keep the plans, it's the same price. You just pay it out of your own bank account or credit card or debit card is one of the things.
So we call that portability.
Correct.
It's portable. You can take it with you. So again, some of the highlights here Tony mentioned is you have a minimum to sign people up, but if you fall below that minimum, the company is not at risk of losing the coverage. If the employees leave, those who are enrolled can take it with them. They're probably paying for it at a payroll deduction if the employer wasn't sponsoring it or subsidizing it. So they'll just pick it up themselves and figure out a way to attach it and make the payments accordingly on their own so they can keep the benefits. And then what else do we talk about, Tony, is rates never go up. They'll pay you as long as you are in the system. Once you're locked in, you don't age out where they're now canceling you at 75. So you got to be enrolled before that age, but you could be 92 and still making your payments. True?
Correct.
And you'll get paid. So that's up to them. And the 92-year-old got locked in when she was 40. She's still paying as if she's 40.
Correct.
Whereas most 92-year-olds' insurance costs are.
We well know we both know that quite well, and also to aid the employer, we give a Section 125 plan, or also known as a cafeteria plan, which I know you're quite versed in. But what that allows is you to take the policies from Aflac and deduct them before taxes. So the employee on a W-2 is saving on their FICA, and the employer is saving on their FICA, which is, one pays half, the other pays half. The only policy that we offer that we don't take out before taxes is the short-term disability, because when you do collect on short-term disability, you don't want to pay taxes on it. So you've already paid it with after-tax dollars, just like a life insurance. You pay with that after-tax dollars. So
yeah, we again just let me excuse me. Let me reiterate that. I'll try and reiterate that. I got a frog here, a little bit of head cold. So when we had our full episode on disability, we're not tax advisors, right? Tony and I are not tax advisors, but the simple benefit with disability is if you, the employee, pay for your own disability and ever have the opportunity or misfortune to collect because you paid the premiums, the benefits are tax-free income. If your employer provides those benefits and now you're getting that check. Well, it's deemed to be a byproduct of the job because the employer provided it, and it's going to continue to be tax-free income. Now, this is important because when you evaluate your disability coverage and its needs, they tend to classify it as a tax-free benefit. And so nobody ever gets 100% of their income protected, Tony, right? So if you're making $100,000 a year, you'll probably get $60,000 to $70,000 of it covered, but it's tax-free. And again, if I'm making $100,000 a year, I'm going to pay $25,000 to $30,000 in tax, FICA, state, federal, depending on where you live, very easily. So they're grossing it up, if you will, on a tax-free basis. And so this applies also for the Aflac product for disability. You want to pay for it yourself, even though it's only a few dollars. Again, people, oh, how come my employer doesn't pay for that? Well, because it's really not in your best interest. That's why, because you're going to get, less money.
Correct. Now, some of the other things that I just want to bring up is that medical bills contribute to, 58% of it contribute to bankruptcies, while illness-related income loss contributes 44% towards bankruptcies. So we find that about 58% of employees are not even able to cover an unexpected out-of-pocket medical cost of $1,000. So that's, again, Aflac does that. Now, some of our Aflac policies, like our accident, hospital, and cancer, all offer a wellness benefit. So we want to make sure you go to the doctor once a year. We want to make sure you get checked for cancer once a year. So our accident policies will pay you $60 if you go visit a doctor one time a year. The hospital plans you get three $25 visits to the doctor if you're an individual, and $6 if you're a spouse and or family. So you get $6 $25 visits. And the cancer policy, it's $75, if you go get a cancer screening. Now, with my wife, she has to get tested every year, so she gets $75. And kids in the cancer plan under the age of 26 are free. We do not charge for children under the age of 26. So my daughter, who was 25, got tested, because her mom, had breast cancer. Now she has to, and she's asking me, Tony, Dad, can I get the $75 since I'm free on the policy? And I go, sure, no problem. I'll stop paying for your gas in your car, the car insurance, your phone, and just started listening. No, you can keep it, But so it is something. And then when I if you get a blood screening for different cancers, that's fine too. If you have to have the colonoscopy, when I did last year, all I kept telling the ladies in there was, listen, I'm getting paid $75 for this. You better put me out. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We're trying to encourage. When COVID came around, we were thinking, you get the COVID shot, which was free from the government. We'll pay you $60 for that. So we're Aflac's always trying to make sure that you collect and and do that. Now, if you ask me what's different about me as an Aflac agent than a lot of Aflac agents, I'm going to tell you. I do not let my policyholders call Aflac, because unless you like to wait 3.5 hours on the phone to get somebody or get a call back, they'll call you back after a certain time. Be my guest. I give that personal touch, and I think a lot of people like that they have one person to call. They're not calling somebody else. They're texting me. They're calling me. So it just gives them that extra comfort level that I'm going to be able to send them the correct policy claim forms. I'm going to help them fill it out. I'm going to tell them where they need to go and everything that needs to be done beforehand, so they're not making that mistake. I can't tell you how many people that try to send it on their own forget to actually sign the claim form. It's a simple thing, but people forget. Oh, I got everything. I'm going to send it in, and it happens. So
well, You're like us, is we want the clients to come to us. We're very service oriented, as are you. And yeah, dealing with these call centers and it's painstaking to try and get a human being on the phone. And again, their manpower, their person power is limited, just like the restaurants, and the phone takes a while for somebody to pick up. So yeah, we want everybody to come to us. You don't know what you don't know, and you may not fill out the form right. You may not realize that's the right place to call, whatever it is, and you spin your wheels. And nothing is worse than a client that has been on hold for 3 hours and then they come around to you and start screaming at you that they can't reach somebody. So start with me and Tony and go from there. We've been speaking with Tony Moonen, Vice President of Sales with Aflac down here in South Florida. Anything else to add, Tony, on the world of Aflac?
Just that we do collect a lot of awards. We've been in the most ethical company since 2007. Forbes were the best employer for diversity, and Fortune had that we're one of the world's most admired companies in the world. So, we do pay.
Well,
we do pay.
We're a proud partner of working with you. So, Tony, how can people, obviously they can come to us through the Planman. We're going to put your information in the show notes, but give a quick shout out. How can people reach you if they want to speak to you directly or start getting involved, either to represent Aflac as an agent or to get their business or family covered? How can we reach you?
So they just have to call me. My number is, my cell number, I give it to everybody, is 954-649-8773. My email's a little longer, so it's Tony, Tony, _Moonen, which is MOONEN @us.aflac.com. So like I said, that one's a little longer. You can text me or give me a call is fine.
That's great. Well, listen, this has been the episode of Ask the Planman. Again, my name is Bruce Weinstein. I want to thank my guest, Tony Moonen, for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you, our audience, with your questions and topic requests. So please give us a call at 844-PLANMAN. Visit our website, www.asktheplanman.com, or email me personally at bruce@asktheplanman.com. We want to hear from you. We love having Tony on today and bringing topics like this to educate you, make sure that your plan is ironclad. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Check us out every Monday. Thank you, Tony. Remember, folks, when you need some advice, always get it right. Come ask the Planman. Again, I'm Bruce Weinstein. Tony, thanks for being with us today, and we'll see you next time, folks.